Hey everyone, it's Jolt here. I'm super excited about this update. Take a look at this. I open Shade Master, and if I change the hue, then the hue of all the elements in this scene change. Or when I change the lightness, I can make this color slightly lighter, and then I can change the hue. I can change the saturation of the colors. I can make it grayscale if I want. Everything in the scene is changed at the same time. And on top of this is not only Excalidraw elements, but also icons that are embedded here, SVG icons. So let me show you how all of this works. You need SVG icons. The icon that I'm using, I downloaded from the Noun project. And you can see here, this is the icon. If you create an account, you can download these icons free of charge. Now, if you download an icon, I've already downloaded the icon. I'm going to add it. So I'm going to just insert image, and it's an icon, and it's the fireworks from the Noun project. When you download an icon from the Noun project, then this is how it's going to look like. So you're going to have this watermark at the bottom. Now with the cropping feature in Excalidraw, we can easily get rid of that. So this is so far so good. But then you have this icon here, and the color of this icon cannot be changed. So if I would come here, there are no controls to change the colors. And this is where the Shade Master script comes to play. If I open the Shade Master script, then here you will see that this icon actually only has two colors. I'll show you a bit later another icon that has more colors. This icon has two colors, but if I start to change the color, so I'm going to change all of these, and I'm going to explain why I had to move all of these toggles in a second. But if I start to change the color, then you can see that the icon color in the scene changes. Indeed, I can also just simply click here and choose a color. Or if I already have a color in my scene, then I can, of course, do this as well, that I can click here. I can click on the color picker, and I can select this color, and then I can apply that color to my icon. This is so far so good. Awesome. Now let me explain to you how this thing in the beginning works. So if I come back here, I can click here on initialize SVG colors. This is going to reset the SVG to the original color. And what you could see is that when I change the hue, nothing changed. When I changed the saturation, nothing changed. When I changed lightness, then suddenly things started to come to light. So the way this works, and I need a bit more saturation here, I need to explain to you what's going on here, because once you understand color theory behind this, then you're going to understand what's going on. So I'm heading over to Peloton, and I'm going to use this site to show you how the color wheel works and how luminosity and saturation works. So you can see here that I have a color wheel. I have a single color here. And if I go around the color wheel, this is changing the hue. So the hue is a position around the circle, around the 360 degrees of the circle. So the hue moves on this scale, and it moves around the circle. Now here what you can see are different dots, and horizontally, this is the saturation. So take a look at this. If I move this dot, then you will see that the bottom, so this is where you need to look, the bottom right color that changes from gray to the color as I move here. And as I move here, if a color is not saturated, it means it is gray. If it's saturated, then it has color. And equally, if I take the luminosity, I'm going to move this item here, and it's going to move from a luminous color to down over to black. You can see that. But here in the middle, this is actually saturation halfway. So that's why I have this toggle here, because that you can see is white. If I move to the center, then that's the base color here. If I move out here, this is going to be white. This is white because this has a luminosity of 100% and a saturation of 0%. That means a white color. And essentially what happens here is when I have an item that's by default black, black has no lightness and no saturation. So if I change this to HSL, then you will see here, well, this is my hacking already, that it has a saturation of 0.01% and 0.01% of luminosity as well. But if I now change the lightness, then this is going to start to move to white as the luminosity changes. As I turn up saturation, then I'm going to start to get a color, and that is because I was at the 0 red point. And then as I move the hue, then I'm moving around the color wheel to the different colors. Now the way this slider works is it takes you through the color wheel, but it is relative, because if you have multiple colors in an icon or multiple icons, then each color is going to be at a different place on the color wheel. So essentially I'm moving multiple colors around here. So if we come here, you see this single dot. If I add additional dots here, then I can actually move them together, and that's what the slider does here. But let me add another icon here. I can again open Shade Master. Now you can see that Shade Master has a lot more colors here. First of all, I can change the shading of this, but of course I can also just simply adjust colors. For example, I want this hand to be the same color as my fireworks. So now I've changed that color. I can maybe change this color to be a much stronger pink, whatever. So you understand what's going on here. Now, if I select multiple icons like this and run Shade Master, then I no longer have the color picker. So the color pickers at the bottom only show if you have a single SVG icon. If you have multiple SVG icons, then it doesn't show, but you can still change the hue of these elements together. But now let's go one step further and let's add an item from my stencil library. I'm going to add the Obsidian icon here from the stencil library because I want to show you something special with this. So let's open Shade Master again and let's change these colors together. So if I now pull the hue, then you can see that both of these items change their colors together. So you can see that this is now changing the color. But I want to show you what this stroke and background color is useful for. So for example, I want to show you that I can change only, for example, the background color. And in this case, I'm going to change the transparency of the background color. And you can see here that the background color changed, but the lines are still fully opaque. So this is in contrast with, just to show you, if I bring here the icon again, I have my Obsidian icon. Of course, I can change opacity like this as well, but if I change opacity like this, then the stroke color also changes. But in this case, the stroke color, because I didn't select the stroke color when I was updating this here I didn't select the stroke color. Therefore, the stroke color remained fully opaque and only the background color is transparent. I think this is a very useful feature in a number of cases when you don't want the entire object to be transparent. Now, let me show you. So this is now our Obsidian icon nicely blended into the background. Now, let's create a second firework here. So I'm just going to Alt drag to make a copy of this. And what I want to show you is if I now open Shade Master and change the color of this to maybe this strong orange, then both of these changed, which is not necessarily what you want because you might want these to have different colors. For this, you need to understand how Excalidraw in Obsidian stores your image in the background, and then I'll show you the solution as well. So here, if I open this drawing in markdown view mode like this and open Excalidraw drawing here, then you will see here that under embedded files, I have this icon only once, and you can see here as well that I have my color mapping for that icon after the icon link. And therefore, this icon, how many copies we have in the drawing, this icon is always going to be a single file here. But I have a copy command. So if I click the Obsidian command palette, I can select duplicate selected image with different image ID. When I click this, then you can see that a new copy of the image was created. And this one is black. So this is back to the default color. And now I can come here and I can select a different color for this one, and again I can duplicate, and this way I can add yet another color, whichever you want. So here we can now start to play with our different colored fireworks. So I think this is super useful in terms of remapping colors, in terms of having the same icon with multiple colors, like in case of my thumbnail for this video. Let me show you how now this looks in markdown view mode. So now I have 3 different versions of this file. So you would expect to see here under embedded files 3 different versions. You can see that they all have a different so-called file ID, but they are the same file in your Obsidian Vault. And they have, each of them has a different color mapping attached. So that's the basic story of how this is stored. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to show you here, and that is that you can do this recoloring with SVG images, but you can also do this with nested Excalidraw drawings. So if I now insert an image, and I'm going to insert the logo of the Visual Thinking Workshop. So this is an Excalidraw drawing. If I click on this, I can open this drawing here, and you can see that this has the many links of all the places that I've used this. Now, if I come back here, I can do the same thing with this. I can open Shade Master, and I can start to change the color of this, but I want to call your attention to something interesting here, that if I change the color, you will see that these dots in the brain inside the drawing, so let me just reset that you can see it again. Now these colors are all the same, but if I drag this, then each of the dots in the brain, they remain the same color. Why is that? Well, that is because if I come back here, essentially this is not a single, it is a single image, but the brain here, a sketch node brain rough Excalidraw, this is a separate Excalidraw drawing that again I've reused in many different locations. So I'm using this not only in the logo but here as well. And therefore, and nested images will not be recolored, but I think this is actually, in this case, this comes out pretty nice. This is a very interesting look for the logo. And beyond the fun of recoloring, because you could say that, hey, Zsolt, why are you recoloring it? You could just simply copy the logo from here like this, come over here, and then you could apply a different color scheme, whatever. So I can select this and I could change the color to this, and that would be an option as well. And you're right, it would be an option, but what I would lose is the connectivity, because now this is just an element here, an Excalidraw element here. This doesn't have a link back. Now, if I look at the links here, then you will see that this has an outgoing link to the Visual Thinking Workshop. And through that outgoing link, I have a connection, because my whole vault is full of Excalidraw drawings, almost 3,500 drawings, and these illustrations are all interconnected. I'm linking my thinking through icons and images that I nest and reuse. And if I remove this from here, then you will see that the link disappeared from here, because this is now just an image. This is not a link. Now, of course, because this has the brain embedded, therefore I have the sketchnote rough brain in here. But you get the point that the idea of linking is by reusing items, and what the Shademaster script makes possible for you is that you can reuse images and link them even when you're reusing them in different color contexts and you need to create a different look. You can still reuse the original image. So how do you get this? You need to click here on the Obsidian Tools panel, and you need to click here to install or update Excalidraw scripts. And here you need to search for Shademaster. There it is. And when you click it, you can install the script. And with that, you'll have the Shademaster installed on your machine. Now, for this, you will need to update Excalidraw Obsidian to 2.7.3. And finally, as I've shown you the Visual Thinking Workshop logo, I wanted to spend just 1 minute on the Visual Thinking Workshop. I have a special offer for you that's valid until the end of 2024, so only a couple of days left to use that opportunity, and it's only available for the first 10 people signing up for Cohort 12 using that link. But before talking more about that, I wanted to highlight that in Cohort 12, we're going to create a collaborative book on a page summary of the lessons of history by Will and Ariel Durant. And the way this is going to work is each of us is going to do a different part of the book on a page. And in the final session, we're going to put it together. This is going to be a super collaborative and super fun workshop. And as I was doing some preparations for the workshop already, I read this article by Will Durant, The Map of Human Character, and he's talking about the definition of history here. And I thought that this quote here is very interesting. So I wanted to read this to you just very quickly. So it goes like this. It is a mistake to think that the past is dead. Nothing that has ever happened is quite without influence at this moment. You too are your past. Often your face is your autobiography. And then later on, Will goes on to say that, therefore, I feel that we of this generation give too much time to news about the transient present, too little to the living past. We are choked with news and starved of history. And then he says later on, but how, without history, can we understand these events, discriminate their significance? And I think this book, in today's environment, with all the changes, all the turbulence in the world, is more timely than ever. And Cohort 12 is going to go through this book. I'm super excited. This is such an interesting book. I think the collaborative way of how we're going to put together the book on a page is unique and extremely fun. So I want to encourage you to sign up for Cohort 12. The coupon that you see under the video, in the comments and in the description, gives you 30% off the Cohort 12 bundle and the Cohort 12 premium bundle. So use it and enjoy the lower cost. The workshop starts effectively on the 25th of January. That's the first workshop date. But keep in mind that the workshop is an interactive practice. We have 5 sessions to go through in Cohort 12. But before you do Cohort 12, you need to complete the self-paced course. So the bundle includes the visual thinking self-paced course. And after you've completed that, you'll be ready for the workshop. Effectively, you can see here there's a chart that explains where you should be in the self-paced course by which session of the workshop. But you know what? You will get the most value out of this if you actually complete the self-paced course and then join the cohort sessions. And that is why I'm doing it like this, that now you have an opportunity to buy the workshop, the bundle, at a reduced price until end of the year. Then you still have 3 full weeks to go through the self-paced course and get ready for the workshop. And then during the workshop, you're going to be fully there and make full advantage of this. I think this package like this is an awesome opportunity to kickstart 2025. Grab this opportunity and join Cohort 12 of the workshop at this reduced price. Again, the first 10 people get 30% off. So don't wait, sign up. And this offer is available until 31st December, midnight, Central European time. So be aware of the time zones. I think the quicker you click, the more chance you have to get this benefit. So with that, I want to close this video. I think this is going to be the last video of this year. So I want to thank you for bearing with me throughout the year. I have still so many ideas to implement, and I think just this new feature with the Shade Master is such a game changer that I'm super excited about Obsidian, about Excalidraw, about the visual thinking workshop, and overall about visual PKM. So join me in the next videos, join me next year, and thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me on this journey. See you next year. See you at the workshop. Thank you.